following up with another question here. The other side of that coin is that she was going to a very good public school district where the taxpayers were paying above and beyond the call of duty to make it an excellent school district, and she wasn't part of that tax-paying community putting it in there. So the people who live in that community are probably a little bit steamed that somebody comes in and takes something they're not
All
paying.
right, let me just say, first of all, a couple things about this, and I want to make sure I have all the facts, but let's just divorce this from this lady. First of all, why don't you have open enrollment? We have it in many districts where you can move to where you're going to be more comfortable. Secondly, you talk about civil rights issues. I'm a believer in school vouchers, and I'm a believer in charter schools. And I just read yesterday that there aren't enough vouchers to go around to mothers and fathers standing in line to let their kids get a chance to go where they think their kids are going to learn. This is an outrage. Mayor Fenty down in D.C., part of the reason why he lost is he dare challenge a union that wouldn't help kids to get the vouchers they need with a reformer like Michelle Reed, who wakes up every day trying to improve kids' lives. This has been in my craw, folks, for 30 years. This is not something that happened last week. You think about going to a concert and you got to stand in line to get the tickets, and you get to the front, they close the window and say, sorry, no tickets. You go home, you might be upset. Think if you're standing in line to get a voucher to get your kid in a situation where the kid's going to be safer or smarter or whatever, and the window closes and sorry, no more. What do you do when you go home? I mean, I don't know what you think. So I'm a very big believer in public education, in our traditional school, but I'm also a believer in empowering people to be able to, it's their children, to put their children where they think they're going to get a better education, have a better future, and be safer. So I'm going to expand vouchers in this state. We need to have charter schools. That's not an attack on your traditional public school. But the fact of the matter is that competition improves everything. And I believe in it. And what we have here is all these wires crossed, and what about this, and what about that? You know what I suspect, and I don't know this. I suspect that this woman felt that her children would be safer if they didn't have to get home in the middle of the day. But again, let me do my checking. But make no mistake about it, I think vouchers and charters lead to more opportunities. Okay. Laura?
Back to your administration. You talked about having it being a new day, a new way kind of administration. Yeah, you have a lot of returnees from the Taft administration, some from the Strickland administration. So how will it be different?
Laura, I think there is a spirit inside of our, some people say we're boiling the ocean. I mean, have you been reading the papers lately? Pete, there's a lot of change going on. And there's going to be a lot of change and restructuring going on in this state. And let me tell you, we don't get rid of people just because they, John Martin has been a reformer inside the Strickland administration. He didn't care about the Strickland administration. I don't even know what party he is. I don't even know what party Michael is. I never asked a question. I don't have a clue. I don't care. Bonnie, you talk about a change agent. This lady, she's going to shake the earth. She scares me a little bit. She's change.
And I like to party.
I said to her, do you have anything in your background I need to know about? And you know what she told me? She said, I do. I want to visit a bingo parlor. Am I right? Wow. She lives living in fascinating. Tracy is on fire to take the skills that she's had to make a difference. Greg Moody, there's never been an effort to try to consolidate 6 Medicaid operations, bring the stakeholders in and try to take a comprehensive approach to Medicaid. There's never been anything like this. I like to call Morton Hall, took a geology class there. Listen, he was down in Fairfield County, and this guy, Fairfield County is very progressive. And we're going to get on this prescription drug thing like no one's ever seen. It's ravaging our communities. If you take our Medicaid director that comes from he comes from D.C., worked for Mayor Fenty, worked with Michelle Reed. I mean, he's a reformer. He's a guy that moving his family here. In Winslow, medical home. You know what you find? A small percentage of people drive up the medical costs because they don't have coordinated care. They don't know where to go, what to do. It's not a complete answer, but it's a significant step forward. That's all big. I mean, are we not having enough change? Talk about selling the turnpike. I mean, look, what is happening is there are a lot of people who work in the government who have been, and take Michael, same deal. There are a lot of people who work in the government who just want a chance to do their job. And they need leadership that says, go do it. Think outside the box. I want you to be empowered. I think that's what's appealing to people. And if you take Tim Keene, and I've got to tell you that story. My staff told me I needed to be with our budget director. This is about 3 years ago, before I even knew if I was going to run. And he came, I said, I don't want to meet with him. He's the enemy. He worked in this, he's a part of the problem. They said, oh no, he's a little different. And he came in to see me. And I said, listen, we have rules in the Kasich organization. When you come in and you get inside the tent, you can't get out. So don't think about coming in unless you can be comfortable. He said, I don't want an answer today. Go think about it. It took him like 2 weeks to call me. And he said, I want in. And Tim he's now become one of the great reformers. And he's stunned at the fact that we don't have this this system, not getting the right word out there, but, like he reports and this. We sit around, we're very collaborative and talk about stuff and come up with ideas. It's really cool. And that's the way I always ran things when I was the budget committee chairman. It's the way I've conducted myself. And these are change agents, and just because they work somewhere where they might have been stifled. There was this guy one time, his name was Saul, and he was on this road one time in Damascus, and then he became Paul. It's just amazing, isn't it? So, Laura, I love our team. We had a cabinet meeting last week. It was like 2.5 hours. People told me, you don't do cabinet meetings. That's a waste of time. You know why we do cabinet meetings? How many people are you working with right now, Michael, on the cabinet? Almost all of them. Somebody pointed out, I'm working with 9 different directors. Our EPA director, Natural Resources director, and Agriculture director, we call them the Three Amigos. They're now riding horses to meetings, okay? Big sombreros, What it's doing is building a team. I don't have a lot of time to build a team and get people to understand me. That's what I have to do with the legislature as well. I've got to get Democrats to understand. Let me tell you, I must get Democrats to understand that because I'm a Republican, if I have a good idea, you shouldn't vote against it because you happen to be a Democrat. There's times when we're going to disagree, but when partisanship spills over and the people not wanting to work with you because you happen to wear a different uniform, that's not acceptable. It'll change. I'm patient. I'm patient with them. They'll come along, but they got to get to know me. In this team, we're building teamwork. Am I right about this? We're building a team of people that can plug together, because that's what we need. No person can lift things. It takes a team. And I know the media says I talk too long with my answers, and Scott is back there shaking his head, but it just happens. It's funny with the media. They used to say I didn't talk enough, now they say I talk too much. It's like porridge. It's never right. Okay, anything else?
Governor, to pick
Last
back
question.
up off that, the House voted to move Jobs Ohio to the Senate. No Democrat voted for it. At least not, one voted in error.
Yeah, I think we got it.
They were saying that it's being rushed through, that there's not a lot of opportunity for vetting, and they took issue with some of the transparency and accountability measures in the bill. One lawmaker likened you to being a king in your effort to get this done. What do you have to say to that, and what does that, I guess, mean for bringing Democrats into the picture?
Well, look, I would just say to the legislators, please don't make things, not about me, I can take, look, I've been in this politics a long time. I've tried to urge both Republicans and Democrats, look, you can argue about philosophy, just don't get personal. Don't call names to people, don't question their motives. I mean, just be cool about it, at least, you know, person to person. Look, you know, the 97 budget agreement took a long time to negotiate. Who did I do it with? The Clinton administration. Limiting the production of the B-2 bomber. Who did I do it with? Ron Dellums, liberal, African-American Democrat, just was the mayor of Oakland. Talked to him last week. Closing loopholes on corporations. Who did I work with on that? Ralph Nader. I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is that you've got to look for the good in people and look for areas where you can agree. And I think over time, we will get Democrats to support these initiatives. Look, we've lost 400,000 jobs. The Dallas Morning News talks about the devastation that Ohio has experienced. We have people in here who have experience in creating jobs, and the group in charge over there says, I think things are just fine as they are, or slow down, or, you know, hold on, or wait, or whatever. We don't have time to wait. Are you kidding me? Wait on what? More unemployment, more job loss, more kids leaving the state? It's time to get something moving at the speed of business. It's time to create something that gets people to create jobs in this state. And look, I live with the vote. You know, I'm proud of the Republicans that hung in there and voted with me. I think they get it. We can't stand still in Ohio any longer. I hope we're going to get some Democrats in the Senate. I hope when the bill goes back, we'll get some Democrats. You know, I ran into my old pal Mike Stenziano, the dad. I said, Mike, I'd like your kid to vote for this bill, your son. You know, don't be a robot to leadership. You know, be in a position of where you want to do something. Remember, you never came to office to be a Republican or a Democrat. You came into office to change the world. Change it. That's your legacy. Thank you all very much.